So, we've had one hell of a night thus far here at Willows Weep in Eugene, Indiana. Um, we've used the Echo Box and we got a few choice words out of them. Uh, Not good words, of course, but we did get a few choice words out of there. Spirit Box, we just got done listening to. We've got a few voices that came out of there. Um, Paula had some minor personal experiences. Care to talk about them?
Well, when I first got here, we unloaded the truck, and in the process of unloading the truck to bring it into base camp, and I felt like tightness around one of my legs. And all of a sudden, I had this burning sensation on my baby toe on the right foot. Felt like a sting or a bite, and and it felt like I was being, tugged on this one leg. Later learning from the owners of the house that they have a ghost snake or an entity of a snake in the house, and they've even got footage of this snake crawling through the house in a you can even see through it and everything. And they said that that might be the snake that's crawling that you had gotten bitten by. I have been touched. I've had a heated sensation. You can go into one of the rooms in the house, the very center of the room of the house, and it's very, very warm to me. The rest of the house feels cold. But that part of the room is like it runs 60 and less earlier. It felt the same room temperature as everything else, but when I go in there, it feels very, very uncomfortable. I get chest pains. I get uh, as if somebody does not want me here. I've got a couple more experiments I've got an idea of doing tonight to see if we were going to conjure up, or not really conjure up, but getting them to talk to us, even a little more than what we've already acknowledged from them. I mean, we've already got the word enough. I don't know how well is the enough's going to be enough, but
Now, let's
we'll
not forget
see.
it on the Ovulus, we got a message that said run,
Yeah, we got run, we got soldiers, we got
march.
march. So I'm wondering if, of course, the Civil War did play a lot in this area. Also, soldiers made the Indians march. This is a very common area for the mounds. Uh, there was a person that had done a scientific historical research in this area 5 years ago. They know that the mound Indians were in this area. They know that this has been part of the Trail of Tears. We're assuming that there is a entity in this house that is not happy. As far as evil, I don't think it's extremely evil. I just think it's one of those that it has a guardianship of the house. It's taken ownership of the house. It doesn't want anybody to live in its house. I believe its protector is part of the willow tree. You hurt that willow tree, the willow tree will hurt you back. I've heard numerous of stories of clients and neighbors and friends who have done strange things to this house, to the willow tree. In return, whoever put the fate of ill fate into that willow tree, as in cutting the branches back, pruning them, making jokes at the tree, kicking the tree, uh, anything that the willow tree would think abusive, I think is possessed by some kind of entity. And it's very, very strange, very, very uh, dramatic that what this willow or whatever this is that's conjuring bad ill health to anybody that does anything to this from this to this tree. A gentleman had a massive heart attack, had to have a pacemaker within hours after being at that tree. Had a gentleman try to trim its I mean, it's become very wild out there. You cannot drive down the driveway without accidentally running over one of its limbs because it's gotten so long and so out of control. But if you try to maintenance any of it, it's like it's revenge. Like, we had one, it cut one of its limbs off and says, "Oh, this tree's not going to bother me. That's just folklore." These three friends, they cut a branch off, laid it across the dashboard of their vehicle, like Brenda had said earlier. And literally, those three, within a couple of days, all died in an accident. Everybody that has.
We got movement in the living room.
We have movement in the living room. We have movement everywhere.
Yep.
We have movement in the living room. Oh, the outside's gone, but we have movement in the portal. I call the portal room or the blue bedroom.
Oh. Not enough light, is there? I'm a leprechaun.
Oh, Lord. I'm gonna go seek warmth by the fire again.
Needless to say that we've basically had a real good night so far, and didn't quite know that we're an hour ahead, of course, and the interviews went very well. We interviewed Brenda. We interviewed Al. What's the other guy's name? Got to meet Amy Jo for the first time. Real sweet girl. She didn't want to go ahead and get interviewed, though. I can see why. We set up originally out front of the house, and they really don't like to be anywhere near the front of the house. So we didn't do any interviews in there. We interviewed Brenda in the garage, and then, of course, we built up base camp, and we went indoors. We've been in there for probably about, 4 hours now?
Yeah.
And we're going to be going back in again. We're just in here regrouping, coming up with some other ideas of what we want to do.
And warming up because it is like cold. It's like 32 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's 32 degrees outside, but 56 degrees inside.
There's no heat or electricity in the house.
Yeah, there's no electricity whatsoever in the house. It's really cold. So as you can see, I'm wearing a tactical vest, a jacket. I would have wore a hoodie, but I don't know where the hoodie is, and I don't know where the beanie is.
Beanie is in your back, is in your backpack.
Oh, okay.
Top container thing.
Well, anyway, I'm going to go on and get off here. Y'all can go ahead and see base camp here behind me. And we're going to go ahead and go back inside and see if we can communicate with, we've actually found out that this area has been inhabited by Indians, mound builders. There's an Indian cemetery across the street, and of course the cemetery spanned over to where this location is. There is a spot in the living room underneath the floorboards where there is an actual tombstone under the house. We'd like to go under there, but unfortunately, crawling under there with this equipment is not really a good idea. But it's been told that there are some markings down there. But all in all, there's a tombstone underneath the house. So, but recently we went ahead and did some chants, not us, but we found it online, and we were playing some Indian chants, music, and we actually did get some responses of someone playing the drums back to us. So obviously we do know that there is some type of an Indian descent inside this house. And the other thing that we have learned, the willow tree out front. The story goes that used to be a loved one for the shaman. The shaman is actually owns this land. This is his plot, and unfortunately, the house is on his plot. His loved one died, and what they ended up doing was taking a lock of her hair, burying it in the ground, and of course, throughout the years, that willow tree grew, and since it had his loved one's strand of hair in it, the hair had intertwined within the roots of the willow tree, and she is the protector of this house and the land, like Paula stated. Anyone that actually does harm to that willow tree, unfortunately, there will be harm done back to them. One of the stories was a guy went ahead and cut a huge piece of the bark off, and next thing you know, he was found lying face down in Brenda's driveway with a broken back. So this shaman's loved one does not play around or mess around. So we are taking precautions and every precautions of not touching that tree, harming the tree. So we don't want to end up getting hurt ourselves. But as I stated, we will be back and give you some more updates as soon as we get back from going back into the house. And we should get some more information. Bye. Where's the button at? Hey, look, I'm covering the camera. Still recording. Gotta love technology.